We're going to talk about matte boxes. Why and how much. So Lars is the expert, so here we go.
Oh man, pressure's on. All right, so when I first started getting into film, people were say, okay, we got to get a matte box, and I started looking at pricing on matte boxes, and I kind of went, what? That's
not cheap.
What? Like the Arri MMB, like the standard one everybody uses on the major film sets, it's like $4,500, and it still is completely overpriced, and I still don't understand that. But all I thought a matte box did was flag light coming into the lens. That's not true. So right here, this is a pretty standard middle-of-the-road matte box. It has what we call 2 stages, and that means how many filter slots I can drop in different filters to change the look of the image. And it's a swing-away matte box, which means I pull up on a pin right here, and I can actually swing the matte box away from the lens, so I can change my lens out, and then just swing it right back in. It locks in. I'm ready to shoot. There's 2 other types. You've got clip-on matte boxes, which just kind of screw on to the end of the lens. I don't like those. They fall off and they're just unpredictable. And then there's also matte boxes that you slide away from the rails. It just takes more time. So
swing away is obviously the best solution.
Swing away is great. It's quick and it's easy. It locks in place, as you see. So I like it. And we've got all these knockoff companies now, manufacturers down in China that are kind of creating the standard MMB 20 from Arri, or there's the O'Connor matte box. I think it's O-Box or something like that. But it's still a $3,500 matte box too. So anyway, this is less expensive. This one's carbon fiber, does all the same things. It's not quite the build quality, but it's about $1,000.
About $1,000 total. That's really good.
So stages, you unscrew a little lever over here. You pull out. This was a 4x5.65 inch filter tray, and I brought a ND filter just so you can kind of see. So it's a ND9, which means it's 3 stops of filtration, light filtration, and it just kind of sets in there, and then you pull up on the pin, and it locks it in place. And you slide it back in.
So you're making a major commitment to this. When you go to this, you're now buying the large, square, or triangle.
Yeah. So the advantage to a matte box like this is that you have different lens sizes, maybe, or lenses that don't have a thread. So like if you've got like a 58 millimeter thread and a 77 millimeter thread, and you don't want to do step ups or whatever the reason, then this would be a great option. You just get a matte box, a filter that drops in. It's the same size every time. You have to worry about it. Or like I said, if you're in the cinema market, then your lens don't have threads on the front.
They're not threads on the cinema lenses. Yeah.
Right. So you can't throw on a variable ND and just. But I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like sometimes the matte box for me is just too bulky, and I don't even like I just got some rehoused Zeiss lenses for my Alexa. And they have 77 millimeter thread mounts. And
really?
Depending on the shoot, if I'm going handheld and I'm pulling off the barrel for my focus, then I will sometimes choose not to go with the matte box, and I'll throw my Tiffin variable ND on, and I'll just change the how like the ND filtration that way. Anyway, but the other obvious advantage of a matte box is that let's say you've got a light that's kind of low, you've got a backlight, and you need to cut that light, then you've got the ability then to start to cut your light here. And rather than using a hand, and your hand starts to dip in, and you start to see like this skin tone there.
You see the flag running around.
Right, so this is just a really easy way to make sure you don't get that light, that flare coming in. You've got different sizes.
So at what point in your career do you step up to a matte box? I mean, we've got some here. This is the Jag. It's more like $800, which is a very simple setup. Camera sits on the plate on the back, just like a rig. You're gonna have your follow focus and then your box in the front.
Here's the thing. I mean, a lot of people will step up just for the convenience of having the ability to flag your light. There's a completely new world though of filters. I mean, you go to Tiffin's website or any one of these like filter companies' websites. They've got hundreds of different types of filters. Really popular ones, soft effects or black pro mists. That's just kind of takes that digital edge.
We reviewed all those as twist-on filters.
We loved them.
We loved them. Yeah, they're great looks.
They were awesome. So, and then another thing that you're going to have is the ability to have one of these trays spin. So one of them rotates, because you're going to have different 4x5.6 polarizers that only polarize when you rotate them. So, I mean, that's, again, that's like, so you can lock it in though. That's the advantage.
Yeah.
You know, like some of these polarizers that are twist on, you put it on and then you start taking pictures and then you realize that it's been twisting, you know, as you've been bumping it, and it's just like not where you started.
I always tape them, gaff
Yeah.
them. Once I lock it in, I put a teeny little piece of tape on it and lock it down. So.
You know, at what point do you step up? I sometimes honestly feel like this stage is gimmicky.
Yeah.
And not really necessary. Like this crank follow focus, that to me, I mean,
it's like when I'm driving my car.
Exactly. Like I'm moving the camera around.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make any sense.
This drives me crazy. This kind of stuff.
That
like,
doesn't make any sense.
You can pull off the barrel just as effectively, and you can plant your elbow and pull off the barrel. That's like with this kind of stuff.
Really
you're out here, man.
I love the follow focus, but you like to just hold on to the barrel.
I'm here, man. I like to keep it in as tight as possible. Like I was telling Kenneth, when I shoot Alexa handheld, a lot of times if I don't have like a super good first AC that knows how to pull focus and not bump me, then I'm pulling off the barrel. I strip it of the matte box and I strip it of the follow focus. I got a nice studio follow focus on this guy, and I pull off the barrel. And I mean, some people are really into, oh no, I gotta have follow focus because it's, you know, whatever. Or I gotta have a matte box so I can flag this or drop in my filters. But sometimes it's just too bulky and it slows you down.
Yeah. For most of the people we're talking to, jumping up to a 2-rail system, they don't even understand.
Yeah.
You know, so let's just talk really briefly about how this sets up.
Okay. So this is a 15 millimeter rail setup. You've got two standards. You've got 15 millimeter and 19 millimeter are the two that you're going to see. 19 is usually for bigger cameras, bigger setups. Everything in the DSLR world or the smaller camera world is going to be 15 millimeter, and the spacing is going to be 60 millimeters. They call it standard. And so this is a pretty basic setup. The spacing is calculated so that it will fit most matte boxes. You just kind of mount your camera right here. You got a quarter thread mount, and the lens is supposed to fit pretty nicely in the matte box there.
So can we just undo the rails right here?
Okay.
Let's just pull this up. Yeah. So this is the 2-rail system. So there's the adapter that goes on the tripod.
Yeah.
And that's going to hold your camera. And then you've got a double rail system. The reason
rails come in here.
You're doing the rail system is now you can slide on whatever you need to work with on this. And so this slides onto here. First your follow focus is slid on, and now your matte box in the front is slid on. You just tighten it on. But you can put other stuff on here.
You can do adapters for audio. There's just like, you don't even have to do big pieces like this. You can have like a little XLR adapter that hangs on the back here.
Yeah,
the
small
like
pieces on the side, yeah.
So, which is actually super helpful. I mean, a lot of people do that, where they have, like on my Alexa, for example, I've got a 15 millimeter adapter for XLR. So if people want to do an audio patch into the camera, just as a scratch track, it just has a little adapter that sits on one of the rails. And plug a wireless mic into it, and it goes right into the camera.
That's excellent.
It's really great. So
the advantages are, you slide this on, you have all kinds of filter options you can put on here. You can flag the camera. It gives you, that kind of control.
Yeah, and that's it. It's filters and flagging the light.
Okay, so
controlling the
disadvantages are?
It's bulky and heavy and expensive.
Big, bulky, and expensive.
Can be. I mean, you've got cheaper options. This one's $200, and it's a smaller size, which would be great for your DSLRs. It's a 4x4 inch.
4x4.
Filter.
What size was this?
4x5.65.
That's nice.
Yeah. So the filters are cheaper, which is good, and does the exact same thing.
Two drawers.
It's 2-stage, and it's plastic. It's just a lot of plastic. So if you're okay with it, if you're going to drop it, it's going to break.
Yeah,
and
it's a one drop.
This one is
most equipment we have is a one drop.
Aluminum and carbon fiber and plastic.
But now if you step up at the Redrock Micro matte box, that's around $800?
$900.
$900?
Yeah. The Redrock Micro, it's $900, 2-stage, swing away, so it's pretty much the exact same specs as this. It's just not a carbon fiber build. I think it's more of a plastic build, more metal a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's probably in comparison to something like this.
And that's a little bit of information about matte boxes.
There you go.
We're trying something different. We're going to split this into 4 segments. They'll come up once a week on our YouTube channel. So each one of these segments is going to have a different topic, but the entire show is going to be at theslantedlens.com. It will post up at the very beginning of the month. So if you want to see the entire show from beginning to the end, go to theslantlens.com where you can see the entire show. But if you want to see them in segments, shorter segments, smaller bites, so you can watch them at your desk, go to our YouTube channel where we'll put them up one segment at a time.
Or if you're in your car and you want to listen to it on the road, you can download or subscribe to the podcast and get it that way. And I think it's called Trench from the Trenches from the Slanted Lens.
And from the trenches.
Yep, so download the podcast. I love podcasts, man. That's how I get most of my information these days. So
very good.
do it. It's good. It's worth it.
So keep those cameras rolling.